G'day, today is Remembrance Day, and as we remember the fallen of World War I on the 11th of the 11th of the 11th, the 11th hour of the 11th day of the 11th month, it was a tradition that was set up in 1919 and continued to this day, and hopefully we will remember so that it does not happen again. So as I wear the beret styled in the fashion that my grandfathers, both grandfathers, wore in the Greek Civil War after World War II, we will notice that, or some may have noticed already and some may not, that we are now in the presence, in the midst of World War III, a new world war that is quiet with silent weapons, weapons that have never been seen on the face of the planet before. So we had hoped that it wouldn't happen again after World War I, Treaty of Versailles that didn't work out the way it was intended to, or seemed to be intended to. And then we saw World War II, which was even bigger, and now we have a global war that's spilled out into space and beyond the atmosphere of the Earth, even into the solar system. So in this quiet World War III, we're now experiencing a number of things. We're seeing silent weapons that include things like, so I'm only going to make a short list today, but you'll hear more and more of these things, not from me of course, but from many experts around the planet. Years ago, 30 years ago, it was my duty to report these matters, to work them out, to report them, and to define what was going on in the field, as I'm doing today for the benefit of the people. Not for the hierarchy, not for the government, but for the benefit of the common person that is being attacked. We can see that on a large scale, Australia is being defended. We have HARP weapons, electromagnetic pulse weapons, all around the country that can defend the country in an instant shield that can be put up. These pulse weapons can go out to 1,500 kilometers, each one positioned strategically around Australia, and create an instant dome, and anything coming in would be disintegrated, any conventional weapon. But the weapons of today are not conventional, and we will see things coming from satellites that we have never seen before. There is, under Operation Mockingbird, a program, and was there since 1954, to deceive, unfortunately, to deceive the masses and the people. That was, the CIA was given $1 billion in 1954 to conduct Operation Mockingbird, that involves the manipulation of the media, and that's why you're not hearing it from the mainstream media, and you're hearing it from limited, smaller sources, and it trickles down all the way to people like myself that are a little bit more aware than the average person. Some of those weapons are plastics that will change the hormones, hormone weapons. So we're getting a lot of confusion, gender confusion and various things. The indoctrination weapons, PSYOPs, that's coming in through our schools and all of our institutions, all of our learning institutions, where we're seeing binary weapons in the forms of vaccines that combine with an external element and then become activated. So the vaccine on the surface seems fine, combine it with something else, even a common aspirin, and you've got something totally different, or a differently combined binary weapon, perhaps a vaccine and an electromagnetic frequency, algorithms that are coming to us through our telephones, TVs, computers, cell phone towers, and relayed back to stations out in the ocean, under the ground, and up in space. These are a lot of things for the average mind to take in, because it's a different world, one where you're not used to that type of a reality becoming an everyday reality. It's something that's probably seen in a film, and even then you're only going to get a snippet of it. So as I try to condense it today, there are a few other things. There's glyphosate in the food, which is a poison that was used, it's Agent Orange, that was used in the Vietnam War. There is fluoride in the water and in the toothpaste and various other places that removes the blood-brain barrier, and that then allows for aluminium to enter the brain. That, in conjunction with electromagnetic frequencies, doesn't do the brain a whole lot of good. It brings on dementia, it brings on Alzheimer's, brings on short-term memory loss. I've seen that in a lot of the older people that I that I train and exercise with. There's also chlorine and various things. It's genetic modification. Genetically modified foods have become genetically modified animals that eat genetically modified foods, and now we, the humans, eat the genetically modified animals. The plot thickens, folks, because it is the intention of a handful of people at the very top of a pyramid-styled hierarchical control system that's now controlling the planet, but coordinating wars and something that looks like chaos, which is not chaos at all. It's actually very, very structured. The plot is to genetically modify the human organism, to change us so that we do not have much intelligence, we do not have a long memory, we forget history, so that those who bank on and guarantee that history will repeat its mistakes will profit. And it's not about money, it's not about money profit, it's about power profit, power over others. Those who seek power are not really quite healthy in their mind. And we're seeing a lot of these things come out in the current news because there are people that are aware that are trying to do something about it. We're seeing things like the Jeffrey Epstein allegations and list come to fruition in courts. We're seeing assassinations of various people connected with these things. We're seeing the allegations of in the diaries of people like Jimmy Savile in England, and we're looking at people of high influence and power that are seeking to change and socially re-engineer the planet. Now, I know all of that is so far it's quite a lot to take in a very in a pill or in a nutshell, but adapt we must. So on this Remembrance Day, we're hoping that it's not going to happen again. It's already begun. We're several years into it, and we're only a few years away from Agenda 21 being fulfilled by these organizations in 2021. It's not about the 21st century, it's about 2021. That's the pace of this movement, this war, World War III, a quiet war with silent weapons. Some of the other weapons are chemtrails, that are nanoparticles, nanoparticulates dropped out of the sky by drones now. It used to be in airplane fuel, it's still there. That's one of the most concerning, because we breathe that in the very air that we breathe. So our lungs are being used to invade the body through the bloodstream and the brain through the bloodstream. There are other things, Vigma dust from nuclear reactors like Fukushima and Chernobyl, both raging at the moment, particularly Fukushima. Fortunately, south of the equator, the waters or the currents of the world carry that poisonous water that's now been leaking out in billions and billions of tons into the North Pacific Ocean. It carries that over to America. Fortunate for the Australians, not so fortunate for the Americans and the Canadians and some of those south of the North American nation. Many of these things are going on. Hawaii is under attack by nuclear Vigma dust. 2 weeks ago there was an enormous storm over Japan. That storm then spread the Vigma dust, nuclear Vigma dust, which is metal that has been disintegrated by nuclear radiation and becomes a black dust that's taken up into the atmosphere by plumes of air. That was spread right across Japan and right across Asia. So we've got a lot of problems. There are going to be a lot of sick people in the coming year. Beyond that, there are other things. The pharmaceuticals, which are again binary weapons. Take one, solve one symptom, get another 20 symptoms, take more pills to counter those symptoms. Once you take the current modern pharmaceuticals, you're hooked for life. You cannot get off these drugs. And my job as an exercise professional, I train people, I'm a fitness consultant, and I'm rehabilitation trained. When I train these people that I see coming in, year by year, it's becoming far worse. There are people crippled with all kinds of illnesses and ailments. So I wish you well, but I'll take this opportunity, hopefully, to try to spark some awareness and to raise a little bit more of an understanding about the silent weapons of World War III that we are experiencing We're feeling them, but we're not understanding what's going on because they are disguised in this way. Remember, most of all, the concept of a binary weapon. It is, you are given one part here and another part somewhere else that are totally unrelated, but when they react together, that's when the damage is done. So, lest we forget doesn't mean let's forget. It means in case we forget, let us remember them. So on this day, let's hope that the people that died for us in all the previous wars, including the 2 major world wars, did not die in vain, and that their legacy can give life to the new generations now that are in dire need. So, see you next time.